looking for his first basket of the quarter. Lobs. Oh, Collins with one hand on top of Embiid. Oh, my. And Embiid is shaken up as well after Collins hammered it home on the big guy.
Welcome in, Hawks fans. It's your boy Bryce Lewis back at it again for another Atlanta Hawks video. And obviously the breaking news today, John Collins is no longer a Hawk. He has been traded to the Utah Jazz for Rudy Gay and a future second-round pick. And you may hear that and think to yourself, that's terrible in return for JC. This move for Atlanta was mainly just to get off the books of his contract, the contract that a lot of people like was a bad contract. JC's play has diminished the last couple of years due to multiple factors, not just him, but also play style and role on the team has changed, and that has influenced this move today. But in the meantime, also, Atlanta, obviously, after that, Woj tweeted out saying the Hawks are definitely wheeling and dealing this offseason. This isn't the only move they're going to make. They're going to continue to make other moves as they continue to reshape this roster in the vision of Landry Fields and Quinn Snyder. That is the big thing to take away from that. Obviously, there are some deals that they have to do eventually with Onyeka Okongwu and also with Saddiq Bey if they want to keep him, and maybe even DeJounte Murray, even though that's someone that he also could be one of the players moved in some people's eyes. Now, an instant reaction to this, I think for JC, I think this is a really good move for him. I think he needs a fresh start. I think Utah, young team, they got a couple of really good bigs that he gets to play with. I think he'll actually fit very well with what they want to do there. And I only hope and I only wish anything but the best for him in Utah. He's always been a team player. He's always done the little things, the things that some fans didn't appreciate, but I appreciated. Obviously, if you know JC, you know, he had to figure out his role, especially once they made that Eastern Conference Finals run a couple of years ago. And pretty much since then, they've made him a spot-up shooter, which isn't his role. He's more of a roller to the rim with the ability to shoot the three. And I think that's when he was most effective in his play for the Hawks, especially before that season. So I think overall for him, that's really good for the Hawks. Like I said, a lot of people are giving mixed reactions to this. Some people hate this move, thinking we couldn't get just a little bit more. We couldn't just have a little bit more. But here's the thing you also got to think about with this roster. If you bring back a really good player, someone's not playing. So we want Onyeka Okongwu and Jalen Johnson and AJ to play. We bring someone in one of those positions, their minutes are going to get cut. So either you make this move and you go with the young guys, or you don't. I think this move solidifies a great opportunity for Jalen Johnson to be the starting four this year for the team. Like I said, I'm sure in those end-of-year meetings that they had with the players, Quinn talked to Jalen and said, listen, you're going to be a big part of this team next year. I don't know if they made any starter promises, but I'm sure they told him your role will be much bigger. And now it seems like he has a straight line to being the starting four for the Hawks this year, which I'm really excited about. Obviously, a lot of people are very excited about it. I have a YouTube on my channel about how excited I am about Jalen Johnson in year 3. So that's going to be big for him. Then also, like I said, other moves could be made. Clint Capella has been out there a little bit. Some people are ready for that move to be made. They let Onyeka Okongwu become the new starting center. And then obviously DeAndre Hunter was also mentioned in some talks during the draft week about potentially maybe with the Pacers as a potential destination if he potentially may still get moved as well. So with them saying they're wheeling and dealing, Woj saying that, it's going to be very interesting to see what Atlanta does next. I mean, I'll be very curious to know what are the next steps, what are the next moves. Obviously, he also said in the other tweet that Landry has been given permission to go into the luxury tax, something that's been a very big question since last season when it came out. Tony Russell didn't want to be in the luxury tax. Now, this move is a cost-cutting move with JC going to Utah, but now one thing that could be very valuable for Atlanta is they've created a $25 million trade exception, which means they can take on a contract and it won't hurt their cap. So that's really huge, and I think it's the largest in the NBA. So they can take on another player's deal from another team that has a bigger contract and not have it affect their cap. So that's going to be, I think, really big for them to be able to make a move like that. That kind of gives you some questions of, is there a player that they could go after? We've heard Pascal Siakam as a potential person who could be in that group of guys they go after, but we don't know. We have no idea what that move will look like and what's going to happen with that. So I'm very curious in myself to see what that ends up being. Like I said, we haven't even hit free agency. The new CBA hasn't even kicked in yet, and we're a few days away from that. So clearly there's a lot of things that are going to happen in the month of July to me with the Atlanta Hawks. They're going to be in a lot of rumors. There's going to be a lot of talks. It's going to be interesting seeing the landscape of some deals that we may see them talking about in the future. Like I said, Landry Fields is going to be active this offseason. They clearly are trying to help. I feel like there's more of a youth movement here with also if we can acquire one more really good player. I think that's kind of what they're looking at. What will that take to acquire a really good player? We'll have to see. Obviously, maybe person who probably has the highest trade value, DeJounte Murray, potentially, but I don't know. I've always had this feeling that they're, even though it's crazy to say for some people, I feel like they're comfortable with DeJounte going into this year on a contract, but we don't know. They may want to extend him, and that's why they make this move. We have no idea what they're planning realistically moving forward. Obviously, if other moves happen, that could lead to more Kobe Buffkin minutes, potentially the first round draft pick of the Hawks. Maybe Seth Lundy could potentially get some extra time, potentially. I don't know. These are all just potential things that could all cycle together here and create an opportunity for the young guys to be able to come in and play. So I'm very curious to know what this team's going to do next. Just want to get my thoughts on what the move meant for Atlanta now. Like I said, a lot of people aren't happy about the return, but this is clearly one move in a small batch of bigger moves that are going to happen for this team. So obviously we can't really grade this trade till we see what else Atlanta does this offseason. But I think it's going to be a very active scene in Atlanta, in that front office, trying to get people in and out and trying to figure out how to build this team the right way so they can be competitive and be better than they were this past year, as they've been pretty much, in most people's eyes, an average team. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Obviously, anytime any big trades happen with the Hawks, I will definitely try to get you a video out as soon as possible to talk about it and get your thoughts on it as well in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Brycey_2K if you want to keep up with all my Falcons and Hawks takes. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's your boy Bryce Lewis. We'll see you next time.
He shot it with more confidence.